The great John Lennon once said, "George, could you make it sound like an orange?" And I think there's a lot of irony in that statement because his name rhymes with lemon. Welcome to our colour talk. My name's Kris. I work for a little digital design production house called Resin. We started in Wellington. I've been here in Amsterdam for a year and a half now with our little Amsterdam satellite branch.
And my name's Franc. I'm an ex-Resiner. I've since moved on to Paris, actually, and I'm working at Google as a digital designer. But we've sort of known each other for quite a while.
5 years or so, we're working as a sort of a creative team.
Strong creative marriage.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure a few of you have some concerns with the talk, specifically the fact that we both work in digital. God, they're going to go on about HTML5, CSS, transforms, JS, beautifying obfuscated, uglified code, which is just a real no-no. But to allay your fears, we've agreed to, A, not talk about tech, and 2, show slides that have funny pictures with them.
Such as this one.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just watch this one for a little bit longer. It's a personal favourite. There's so much going on. It just gets better the more you look at it. Yeah, it's colour. Which is, why we showed you that.
I just love how that ampersand really pops just up there. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Obviously, colours is what we're talking about. And when people ask what we do and why we enjoy what we do, the top of the list is to usually create an emotional response. We like to get a kick from our audience getting a kick. And colour plays a huge role in this maxim. And what we're going to do now is show you some examples that we think really sort of powerfully illustrates both of these work that Franc and I have done.
So colour and effect. So the first one here, this is an experience called the Hennessy Wild Rabbit. So it's a sort of online experience where you go into this world and you chase your kind of creative ambition, your sort of wild rabbit, so to speak. So we created all these amazing little sort of worlds and sort of interactive sort of moments.
It also featured Martin Scorsese, Manny Pacquiao, and Erykah Badu as well. Next is a little one we call Golden Age, which was kind of a horror interactive novel for the iPad, a little app that we made, and it sort of was a terrifying story of a man being pursued by moths. It was called, the Golden Age was the series, it was called Moths. And finally, we did, this just recently for pop superstar Subtract, was this interactive little thing called Look Away, where she looks away when you look at her. Obviously this is a still, so she's not going to do that, she's just looking at you. But obviously that was a bit of a cheap laugh. We do work in colour, we work in it a lot, and I guess we're fortunate enough that we do the more experiential side of interactivity and web design. We're not the sort of point-and-click ABN AMRO style thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, that's just not what we do. We're all about experience and visual experience.
So let me read a quote. So, found this quote: "Colour can have political, religious and cultural connotations, represent gender, and is believed by Kandinsky, have emotional and physical effects on us. Colour can also improve our memory," very useful, "and influence buying decisions, indicate meaning, and tell stories." So I think those last two things are very applicable to us, like buying things and telling stories, pretty much.
Yeah. So buying things to make money, telling stories, that's what we enjoy about what we do.
Cool. So let me just
rewind
a little bit here and just give you a little bit of a snapshot of these two kind of acronyms here, CMYK and RGB. I'm just going to tell it sort of through a kind of comical kind of music.
Through the medium of music and humour, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is a great idea.
Okay, so let's start off with the Rolling Tones. So the Rolling Tones, real hit band, they brought us some real classics like The Poster.
The Book.
The Book.
Yeah.
you've got the book.
Yeah.
You
always tell me your
the CD cover.
That was a personal favourite. I was not such a big fan. Pamphlets.
Pamphlets.
I kind of enjoy, depending on whether they're printed on both sides.
Yeah. But then enrolled this new gangster, this new dude. He sort of rolled into town with all his bling and his emitting light bios, and he really sort of set the room alight.
Yeah.
So he brought us these amazing sort of new technologies, such as the
Colour television.
Colour television.
Yep.
Oh God. Tablet.
PC.
That was a bit later. Yeah.
Yeah. The smartphone, the phablet, the tablet. I just
The
made that up.
Quablet. Yeah.
The watch even. Yeah.
So the whole, I guess, spectrum changed a little bit, and now we find ourselves here today, which is
Retina
service.
display.
Well, yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. So we talked a little bit about
Bands
here, just to sum it up. Now we're going to talk about
Brands.
So, okay, so colour's been with us for a long time here, and brands are sort of have been a strong vehicle for bringing them into today's day and age and today's kind of, I guess, consumer world. So, we have all these really iconic sort of, colorways for these iconic brands here that have really sort of embedded themselves.
And these really represented our childhood.
Yeah, I mean, you grew up
except
with
for one,
these.
which kind of probably sticks out like a sore thumb.
Well, I was a bit young.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to today. We look at the internet and we look at like these behemoth online brands, and we find the diversity here is just overwhelming. Can anyone guess which ones are which, or do you want to point them out first?
Yeah. That one.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Man.
This is a bit of a ringer.
Twitter, yeah. Good.
And Windows.
Yeah. And then, of course, there is the Blue Movie.
Yeah,
so,
which is really is the organic glue that holds the internet together.
Yeah.
So we can't forget the Blue Movie.
So I think word of caution here for designers out there. Just be cautious about your use of blue. We just don't want to get this thing kind of to get out of control and spread too far.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what's the time?
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
It's time for colour news.
It's colour news.
Hold on.
It is. It's colour news. Okay. So here's a question posed that we asked our fans. So how do we even learn to see colours? Okay. Well,
That's a really good question.
it's a good question. Well, Baz from Utrecht said, the pleasure we take today in colour was made possible by our ancestors' hunger and the sustenance they found in red-tinged leaves and yellow-orange fruits. So that actually changed the way that we perceive light based on the chemicals that we took in. And Baz read that from Utrecht in some cookbook in bed with his wife one night and thought to send it in.
So it's a really interesting point. Like how did we sort of evolve into seeing colours? And hunger and need for something. That's quite interesting. Another question we posed to our fans out there is when did we start to call a colour a colour? When did we start to say, hey, that's brown, that's green? So
we figured brown was probably one of the first colours people discovered.
Margaret from Eindhoven wrote in to say, this was quite nice actually. So colours, one by one, apparently became recorded in different cultures around the world. This is way over time. Red being the first in most cultures, and blue being, the last in most cultures. So, which is kind of fascinating when you figure that the sky is
blue.
Well, it's sometimes blue. It's not blue today.
But generally speaking, you can imagine that when somebody was such a rare colour in nature, people had no reference for the sky being a colour, so they didn't think of it as a colour, which is quite fascinating when you.
So we're trying to, I guess we're trying to understand how colours sort of evolving, and as colours start to get associated, we start to identify them and understand them a bit more, and our spectrum becomes a little bit wider.
So obviously red because people stabbed people a lot back in the day, lots of wars, and brown because people,
Okay, so let's play.
Let's play.
So we're going to just take this section to sort of describe a few tricks and tips and sort of little techniques that we have up our sleeves.
I guess this is particularly relevant for us because we are about play online. We allow to colour, take that and actually do some interesting stuff with it.
Yeah.
Frank loves this next one.
Okay, so the first area is titled "Tinkle My Synesthetes." Anyway. Synesthetes.
Great example of it, Patatat, which is specifically a mobile-centric game where you basically just, as a user, you're tapping it and creating all these patterns that are accompanied by sounds and different tonal colours. And it's all tied into this whole concept of synesthesia, the way of linking sharp lines with certain shades and twists and curves with all sorts of other things. It's a fun app. It's available somewhere. Probably iTunes.
Yeah. And this next app is quite a fascinating little experiment. It's Roijibiv. So we didn't do these apps ourselves. These are just little references.
We'll let you know when something we've done.
But this is sort of a fun little thing where you can start to define the world around you through sound. Actually, it's not quite working right now. Maybe it's too many colours to take in.
Yeah,
but
it just it does. Yeah.
What does the color green sound like? What does high size of kiss sound like? 你看我图里的光记色，还出现可爱的时代了。好的。
I mean, obviously they've got a way to go to make it, sound
So
not like some kind of insect, but it's still a lot of fun.
This is interesting. This whole synesthesia fascination and this sort of this need to sort of connect these two entities together.
Yeah, and that speaks especially for us because you're somewhat limited online with sound and text and sight. So we're trying to think of ways of maybe rewiring the brain a little bit so we can actually create some sort of interesting gut reactions. And synesthesia is a very interesting place.
Cool. This next one here.
Colour power.
Colour power. So. We like to sort of consider this as sort of the nice surprise delight, sort of, it's a quick gag, but it works like a charm.
I mean, resin is, and our sort of, the work that we did together has sort of led its way to sort of us using this kind of technique of surprise and delight in a lot of ways. And we're also going to show you some examples, which are not ours, of surprise and delight. This is Staggering Beauty. It's a little online toy, if you guys haven't seen it. You basically interact with the little pleasure worm until he explodes in a massive colour and sound as well. There is a lot of intense audio. And there is a disclaimer there, which we should have said before we made it.
Yeah, so simple, but so effective. So the next one here, this is something we actually did.
Yep.
ADIDAS Originals, we created a Tumblr for them not so long ago. So very clean, sort of minimal, sort of really fluid sort of looking site. We had to really take in a lot of consideration with the photography that was being displayed here. So
and the way that it moved and animated in.
Yeah, so not trying to sort of be too loud. So we were kind of like, this is resin, so let's sort of have a play with it. So
something really subtle comes at the end, and if you can spot it.
You just got to keep your eye on it. It's coming up. Yeah, there it is. Cool. So just between you guys and us, it's a little Easter egg. Yeah, you guys hear that? Konami codes. Anyone know what a Konami code? Yeah.
Google Konami if you don't, and go on the site and have a little.
Give it a hoon.
Yeah.
Cool. Next area. With all this computing, all this sort of awesome technology coming into play here, we're starting to really see the world in colour and understand the world and define the world in colour in a new way. So, you've got these interesting powerhouses like Google starting to, wow, what if we could, take images and sort of organise them all by colour? I mean, I don't know how they do it.
Have you guys done this? Yeah, it's good fun. It's really interesting. to sort of look at the tonality, but also all the differences there. I mean, it's just quite a weird way of searching for stuff, but an interesting way. This is another project we did called REI. Frank and I worked on this together. It's a bit glitchy. That's, that's part of
that's how it is.
It's part of its charm.
That's how you use it.
The thing about this was it was over the course of a single day, and what we've discovered quite coincidentally was it was all generated by user-submitted photography, and we found that in the morning to the night we had these interesting tonal shifts the whole way through the day. So if you looked at a bunch of images as a whole, then you got these great kind of sweet sort of gradient.
But hold up.
What?
Whoa, hold on. What if we took something boring like this? I mean,
Yeah.
I use this all the time. Time buddies. Sort of like, oh, what time is it over in New Zealand? Well, I don't know why you'd be wanting to know.
Call
what
your
time
mum,
it is.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe mum's up right now. What time is it?
I don't even know.
And then,
That is
you know,
right, yeah.
what if we sort of did the little colour trick on this, and we sort of started to really understand this in colour. And
Interesting. Interesting.
let's see it in colour. See it in colour. And we start to sort of see these patterns. It's kind of evolved from the REI thing. It's like, wow, we can actually kind of maybe tell time through something like time through colour. What a concept. So, what if we took it and straight away I can understand. Wellington's probably not awake right now, but Paris and London, they're all pink and rosy.
Looking pictures.
Yeah, they're up. So that's just kind of interesting how we can sort of take colour into a new way of understanding.
Looking at ways that we can apply. I mean, that's what we're constantly trying to do with what we do, and that's what keeps us, and I guess all of you guys, interested in stuff. It's just a way of perceiving something in a slightly different angle and running with it. We'd like to finish up with this. Frank and I have known each other for some time, both as colleagues, which the Dutch love saying that word, and mates. which
Mate.
yeah, mate, which us Kiwis like to say. And very often, what we've found as a creative partnership is that it's our differences that really make things work, and it's our different take on the world, it's our different senses of humour, and these kind of areas of almost clashing is where we find some creative energy and creative spark. One of the questions asked of us for this talk was, how is Amsterdam and its creative scene special to you? And it's because of mornings like this. It's hanging out and sharing ideas and thoughts with you guys. It's inspiring one another and each other. So thank you very much for having us talk at you, and it really has been a pleasure. And if there is two things that we can take away, we can have you guys take away. It's colour spelt with a U, and
No questions.
it's really useful for making creative things.
So thank you.
Thank you.